growth of boxing transcends the boundaries of physical strength. It is a disciple of the spirit, a practice of patience, and an endless pursuit of refinement. A boxer's path unfolds in two distinct ways. Some begin with the foundations, footwork, balance, timing, gradually ascending toward the mastery of strategy and ringcraft. Others are endowed with natural gifts of athleticism and power, yet must learn to temper raw aggression with precision, efficiency, and adaptability. Development, then, is not a straight line, but a transformation, where defeat becomes instruction and victory becomes a stepping stone. It is the art of forging a body into a weapon while cultivating a mind that remains steady under fire. True progress is not tallied in punches landed, but in resilience endured, awareness heightened, and character revealed. Within this philosophy, the ring ceases to be merely a place of combat. It becomes a mirror, reflecting the deeper evolution of the fighter, both as an athlete and as oneself. David Morrell is a decorated product of the crown jewel Cuban boxing school, renowned for producing fighters with exceptional technical foundations and ring intelligence. Standing in at 6 foot 1 inch, with a 77-inch reach, Morrell's physical attributes, combined with the southpaw stance, made him a daunting presence from the outset of his professional career. In his first 5 years as a pro, Morrell tore through the super middleweight division, amassing an undefeated record of 11-0 with 9 knockouts, his dominance earning him a fast track to a marquee title shot against David Benavidez. Yet beneath the highlight reel knockouts and dominant scorecards, questions lingered about the depth of his experience. Most of his early opponents failed to push him into deep waters, with only 3 fights reaching the 12th round. And even then, Morrell controlled the action with ease. While his streak built his reputation as a powerful and explosive finisher, it also left some uncertainty about his ability to adapt under real adversity. It wasn't until he faced Hot Rod Kalazic, a seasoned, durable contender, that Morrell was forced to rely on more than just his strength. Hot Rod brought a level of defensive competence that Morrell hadn't encountered before. The pressure and combinations that usually broke down previous opponents were being deflected and blocked, making it difficult for Morrell to land clean. This forced Morrell into throwing hurried, off-balance shots, which left him vulnerable to trap counters from Hot Rod. For the first time, Morrell's usual advantages showed some vulnerabilities, but he still managed to do enough to secure a unanimous decision. The bout foreshadowed some rough edges in Morrell's game, offering a glimpse of the learning curve that lie ahead. Despite these questions, Morrell's resume, boasted by his amateur pedigree and professional dominance, was strong enough to align him for a high-stakes clash with the Mexican monster, David Benavidez. When Morrell finally stepped into the ring with Benavidez, the fight exposed several critical gaps in Morrell's game that had been masked by earlier dominance, further highlighting the issues he displayed against Hot Rod. Unlike previous opponents, Benavidez matched Morrell's size and physicality, leveling the playing fields when the two bulls locked horns. Morrell's vulnerabilities against Benavidez became increasingly clear as the fight progressed, beginning with the static defensive posture. Instead of incorporating level changes, head movement, or subtle shifts to deflect shots, Morrell relied heavily on a rigid high guard that left gaps between his guard. This kind of stationary defense is easily penetrated by a sharp puncher like Benavidez, who consistently threaded shots through the openings.
Angles to escape out of the line of fire. He is stuck with the left, and there's Benavidez leading to the body with the left. Nice right hand on the air. Interesting. Oh, wow. Yeah.
Compounding this issue was Morrell's offensive approach, which was overly fixated on head hunting. Out of 601 punches thrown, an overwhelming 564 were aimed at the head, showing little variation or commitment to the body.
Fighting back. Incredible.
This was vital for a pressure fighter, whose approach entails on a systematic breakdown of an opponent over the course of the fight.
And Benavidez is all.
Morrell was very straightforward with his offense, attacking head-on in straight lines with minimal use of angles.
Left to the 7. Nice combination from Morrell.
There'll be more than one punch at him.
Yes, I was going to say this thing, and there it is, though. We just saw a double.
Adding on to this was his neglect of the jab, eliminating many of the setups necessary to disguise his power shots, leaving his attacks predictable and often telegraphed. Each time he loaded up, Benavidez read the intention and answered effectively.
Benavidez on the inside.
In that sequence, and he told us this in the fighter meetings, he thinks the body work is going to...
Morrell's reliance on sheer power also worked against him. By throwing with maximum force on nearly every punch, his cardio was drained more rapidly, requiring longer recovery periods that left him open during defensive holds. Benavidez capitalized on these laps, unloading with combinations each time Morrell's output dipped.
He eats these body shots, the uppercuts to the face.
People call him a weight bully at 168 while he's bullying David Morrell.
Furthermore, Morrell's inability to adapt throughout the fight magnified his flaws. From the opening to the final bell, he remained one-dimensional, either trying to blast through Benavidez's guard
50-50, I get the power that...
or pull him into exchanges.
No! Morrell trying to fight back.
Without establishing a consistent counterpunching threat, Morrell offered little deterrent on top of his already static defense, allowing Benavidez to dictate the pace and rhythm of the fight. While Morrell's durability and grit were evident, the bout highlighted that he still needed to refine his fundamentals, especially his defense and technical adjustments when facing world-class pressure. Ultimately, Benavidez's experience and relentless style exposed the rough edges in Morrell's game, signaling that while Morrell's potential remains high, there's still a lot of work to be done. It wasn't long before Morrell looked to reassert himself in the light heavyweight division after his tough loss, taking on another dangerous top 10 contender, Imam Khataev, an undefeated 10-0 knockout artist with 9 knockouts. Khataev's pedigree extended beyond the professional ranks, as he also earned a bronze medal at the 2020 Tokyo Olympics. The fight carried a share of controversy, as Khataev had recently tested positive for a banned substance, though both fighters agreed to move forward with the bout. The Russian light heavyweight was a pressure fighter, whose style was built on explosive combinations and forward aggression. Khataev emphasized power punching, hammering opponents with flurries rather than relying on single shots. His approach blended traditional Eastern European fundamentals, disciplined footwork, and balance with the brawler's instinct for close-range exchanges, making him especially dangerous in a pocket where he could unload rapid-fire hooks and uppercuts. This fusion of raw aggression and physical strength turned him into a tank inside of the ring. From the opening bell, it was clear Khataev was going to press forward by all means.
A tall mountain to climb for Imam Khataev, because since he's outsized, and right now they're battling for the...
In the Benavidez fight, Morrell only landed 16.3% of his jabs, landing 29 out of 178 jabs. The Cuban was clearly focused on his power punches and never fully invested into establishing his jab. In a fight against Khataev, Morrell wasted no time not only pumping his jab,
another left hand there for Khataev.
That he found over Rubio. That's what you do with fighters that just keep their hands up.
but also focused on staying disciplined in his range control.
Vodnikov, after Tim Bradley got so much heat for beating Manny Pacquiao,
Keeping Khataev at the end of his jab while not forcing flurries of punches just because Khataev was in range.
Going weak. I mean, Sergio, how would that affect something like you? I mean, jab there by Morrell.
With the jab and movement going, Morrell would switch between the stern jab to hold Khataev in place.
That's the thing about that peekaboo defense, you know, when it has an effect. I mean, you're only blocking it with 10 ounces of leather.
Then using the threat of the jab to set up his power shots.
Don't go backwards. Actually, gifted with power, but they still have a foundation. However, with the punches that he throws, and he's intention to land all the time.
Because of his intentional use of the lead hand, Morrell was able to add another dimension to his offense. By using a jab to provoke Khataev, Morrell created openings that allowed him to counter more effectively, with his responses directly tailored to Khataev's reactions. Morrell also demonstrated noticeable changes in his rhythm and shot selection. Rather than loading up on every shot and head hunting, he focused on putting together sharp combinations to then exit safely. This disrupted Khataev's rhythm while creating space for recovery. This marked a significant improvement in Morrell's pocket presence compared to the Benavidez fight.
but he's got that machismo, Sergio.
His movement and pivots consistently disrupted Khataev's ability to set his feet. while even subtle shifts in positioning created openings as Khataev struggled to adjust to the changing angles and time.
And he lands a right. And that just makes Morrell fire back. Good stuff here.
Defensively, Morrell showed some clear improvements. His footwork was more disciplined, preventing the puncher from settling in the pocket. When pressured near the ropes, he relied on lateral movement to circle out rather than staying put and trading from confined space. He also incorporated more head movement and level changes, avoiding the mistake of keeping his head stationary as an easy target. These adjustments reflected greater maturity as Morrell displayed patience and discipline. Instead of engaging recklessly, he allowed Khataev to open up before countering between his punches, demonstrating he had learned from the Benavidez fight not to be drawn into a firefight, but to control the exchanges on his own terms. Despite improvements, Morrell still had trouble consistently handling Khataev's nonstop aggression. He often found himself backed up and forced into exchanges he didn't fully control.
Palacios in March, and I think he's done a better job placing himself.
While he moved better against Benavidez, Morrell sometimes circled predictably or got caught along the ropes.
They're not. The shots of Khataev, man.
Against a pressure fighter like Khataev, this allowed the pressure fighter to find and trap him with combinations.
Everything they got, it comes right back. Very ridiculous style.
Although his defense showed some improvements, it was still deeply rooted behind a static guard. Against a high-volume puncher like Khataev, his short punches constantly pierced the guard. Morrell's output also dipped at times, especially in the middle rounds, making it appear as though Khataev was dictating action, even when Morrell's shots were cleaner. Although Morrell was more comfortable at mid-range, Khataev forced him to fight inside. In these moments, Morrell lacked the same sharp punches Khataev excelled with, which made exchanges riskier for him.
Khataev is punching right.
From Benavidez to Khataev, Morrell clearly tightened his defense, improved composure, and sharpened his jab and counters. Against Khataev, he showed growth and patience and ring IQ, proving he could adapt to a dangerous pressure fighter.
Champions, what they're telling him in the corner. That's exactly.
However, his inconsistent footwork, lower punch volume, and limitations in inside fighting kept the bout close and prevented him from fully neutralizing Khataev's aggression. Despite highlighted that Morrell is evolving into a more complete boxer, but still needs to refine his ring generalship and ability to control pressure fighters to dominate at the elite level.